So HBAR has been within this corrective move to the downside over the past few days, and here you can see that we ended up breaching past this previous low, and that then triggered a change of character on smart money concept, which then further confirmed that we were on a bearish trend. And here we did briefly lose the 200 DMA, but then we broke through it and got rejected at the 50 DMA, and then saw that retracement to the downside where we are currently finding support at the 200 DMA, which is a good sign. And here you can also see that this recent move to the upside was made up of 5 waves. And what that signals is that we are currently on an uptrend. And whether the uptrend is made up of a double XR structure or a 5-wave move, only time will tell. But of course, that's something I'm going to break down in this video. And here you can see that I set out the wave 5 target to reach anywhere between 31 cents to 35 cents. But then we got rejected at this level here. And that level sits at 30.5 cents. And so whether we saw the wave 3 top off at this level here at 29.9 cents, and then we saw this move to the downside to complete wave 4, followed by that final push to the upside to complete the 5th wave, and then we ended up completing this 5-wave structure. And we now find ourselves within a corrective move. Or it could be a case of the wave 3 ended up topping off at 30.5 cents, and we have this corrective move to the downside that's playing out right now. And this recent move to the upside could be the beginning of this 5-wave structure to complete this 5th wave. Of course, only time will tell once again. And so, yeah, two things can be true at the same time. I'm still tracking a final push to the upside to complete this 5th wave, where that 5th wave has the potential to reach this target. But again, if we ended up completing that 5-wave structure, despite the 5th wave falling short of its typical region, this 5th wave will still be intact. And reason being is because we met the minimum requirement, which is the wave 3 top. And given the fact that we ended up exceeding the wave 3 top, that will then validate that 5-wave structure. But yeah, I'm still looking out for a final push to the upside, like I just mentioned. And so, yeah, within this corrective move, it looks like we had a double XY structure that formed, where this move to the downside was the W wave, this move to the upside was X wave, and this move to the downside was the Y wave. And so what I do is check to see if this Y wave met the typical requirements, just so I know that we ended up completing this double XY structure and there is no more room to the downside, and we can begin to track that wave 5. So if I bring in the fib tool and bring this to over here at 27.9 cents, and yeah, that Y wave typically retraces anywhere between 1 to 1.236 of the W wave. And here you can see that we just about fell short of the 100% retrace level. But of course, we did meet the minimum requirement, which is the 61.8% retrace level. And so given the fact that we ended up exceeding that level, it looks like we still completed this WXY structure, where the W wave looks to be made up of 5 waves, where this is the wave 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And same goes for the Y wave. It looks to be made up of 5 waves. And so if I was to go down on the hourly chart or the 5-minute chart, you'll see that this wave Y would be made up of 5 waves. And then, of course, this recent move was also made up of 5 waves, like I mentioned earlier on. So if I drop down to the hourly chart and draw that in, so here we had a wave 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And this 5th wave typically retraces anywhere between 1.226 to 1.618 of the wave 4. So if I bring in the fib tool, so here you can see that we ended up tapping into that region, which tells me that we ended up completing that 5th wave, where that 5th wave ended up reaching 25.616 cents. And then recently, we've had this corrective move to the downside, made up of a WXY structure, like so. And so once again, if I bring in the fib tool, and here we reached 25.271 cents. And we ended up exceeding the 1.226 level. However, we failed to retrace towards the 1.618 level, which tells me that this is a double XY structure as opposed to a 5-wave move. And In fact, if I just mark this level out here and check to see if we ended up exceeding that level. So yeah, we ended up exceeding the wave W or the wave X origin, where we ended up reaching 24.131 cents, which tells me that what we are forming is a double XY structure as opposed to a 5-wave move. Because in Elliott Wave Theory, what you can't have is the wave 4 cross the wave 1 or the wave 2 origin. And so yeah, it looks like we are now on a move to the upside, where the next key target for HBAR would be anywhere between 1 to 1.226 of this structure here. So if I bring in the fib tool once again and bring this to over here, and so yeah, the next key target for HBAR would be anywhere between 26.5 cents to 27.312 cents. And if we were to get rejected within this region, then there's a highly likelihood that we see another push to the downside, made up of a bigger double XY structure, like so, and then we breach past this local low at 22.55 cents. And that would then mean that we ended up completing this 5-wave structure to the upside, where this is wave 3, this is wave 4, and this is wave 5. And then we see a retracement to the downside followed by a final push to the upside. Well, I say final push, we could actually see a continuation to the upside where this 5-wave structure will form the wave 1, and then this would be the wave 2, and then we'll see a wave 3, 4, and 5 play out in the next few weeks or next couple of months. However, if we were to exceed the 1.226 level and retrace towards the 1.618 level, then what we'll have forming is a 5-wave structure, where if I was to draw that out, this would be the wave 1, a wave 2, and say a wave 3, 4, and 5. And what that would then mean is that this double XY structure would form the wave 4, and we see a wave 5 playing out made up of 5 waves, and this wave 3 would have topped off at this level here. And so yeah, we could see that final push to the upside to complete our 5th wave, where that 5th wave would then have the potential to reach anywhere between 1.226 to 1.618 of the wave 4. So if I bring in a fib tool and bring this to over here, and so yeah, HBAR will have the potential to reach anywhere between 32.753 cents to 36.758 cents. And that would then complete this structure, which in turn would then complete the 3rd wave. And then we see a retracement to the downside to complete the 4th wave, followed by a final push to the upside to then complete that 5th wave. And yeah, given that I'm tracking a move to the upside, this is going to be a good opportunity to be trading, in my personal opinion. And so during the time of recording, we could potentially make anywhere between 10 to about 14%. And if we were to retrace towards the 1.618 level, then there's an opportunity to make around 20%. And yeah, you can see that on the hourly chart, the bulls currently have control of the market, and that's reflected on its price chart, given that we have a huge green candlestick where we've almost retested the 50 EMA, which sits at around 24 cents. And if I go in the 4-hour chart, you can see that we are within oversold conditions, and so I am looking at for the bulls to regain control of the market. Of course, this 50 EMA is going to be a key target in the short term. If we were to break through that level, that would then be bullish, and there will be a highly likelihood that we then breach past this local top at 25.61 cents. And if that's the case, then again, we could then tap into this region, and it's a matter of whether or not what we are forming is a double XY structure or a 5-wave move. And so yeah, if we get rejected within this region, then we'll have a double XY structure that will form, and we could then see a bigger move to the downside. However, if we have a 5-wave structure that forms, then the next key target really would be this level here, where we could potentially breach past that level. And you can see that smart money concept is indicating that we have a strong high. And so if we were to breach that level, then that will then trigger a breaker structure and a change of character, which then further confirm that we are on a bullish trend, and we are within this 5th wave, where that 5th wave will then have the potential to tap into this range here. And on a daily chart, you can also see that we are within oversold conditions. And so once again, I'm still looking for the bulls to regain control of the market. And as it stands right now, I'm still tracking this fifth wave to the upside. And shortly after, I will be looking for that bigger retracement where we can then begin to track the wave 4. But of course, that's something I'm going to be tracking in the days and weeks to come. And I'll keep you guys updated. And so, yeah, hopefully you found it useful. And if you did, then feel free to hit that like button. And if you're new, feel free to subscribe. Take it easy, people. Peace.